and today we're in Buriton at Five Bells. The Five Bells is a 17th century building, and it's named the Five Bells after the 5 bells that were originally in the church tower of St Mary's down the road. So from the 5 bells we're going to be walking in an easterly direction down through the village. So it looks like this nice village accommodation was once the poorhouse back in 1791. Very different times today. And we pass Buriton Primary School, and the school has around about 80 pupils. So there's the village hall, just round the back of the houses. The village has got some very nice, mainly Georgian houses. A slightly more modern book swap, stroke library. Go in there and swap over something you've read for something you haven't. That's a good use for an old phone box, that is. Buriton, the name comes from the Old English Bur-tun, which means the hamlet by the fort. Now the fort that refers to in this village is probably up on Butser Hill, where there was an Iron Age hill fort. It may not be, but probably. Anyway, we're going to head towards the church, St Mary's Church. And this is the village pond, Buriton Pond. And a goodly sized one it is too. Probably used in the past as a sheep wash for the sheep farmers. Local industries here. Obviously sheep farming, hops, beer growing region, hop growing region, and as we'll talk about later, the lime industry. There's a post reminding us that we're going to be on the Hangers Way. Now the Hangers Way is a 21-mile long distance path that runs from Alton train station across to the Queen Elizabeth Country Park, and it takes in some of the most beautiful Hampshire scenery with the wooded hillsides. Lovely. That's a pretty area of the village, this is. And just here we've got the Village War Memorial. And let's have a look at St Mary's. So you can tell this is a very old church. In fact, it was built between 1150 and 1200 on the site of an old Saxon church. You can hear the clock ticking up in the tower. Lovely slow tick-tock. Well, the tower actually burnt down and was rebuilt in the 18th century, and at that time there were 2 clocks, one facing the village and the other facing the manor house, so that the people of the manor would be able to tell the time. The one facing the manor house is long since gone. Come out of the church and it's a figure of 8 route, so you can do one little loop, or you can do the other little loop, or you can do both. But in this instance we've overshot our path because we're taking that path over there the other side of the pond to have a look at the church. But you could look at the church on the other loop, which will become apparent later on. Now you remember the rectory and the path the other side of the pond? Well, that is the path we're going to take. Just where these people are walking here. This will take us up towards the woods. So very quaintly they call this Toad's Alley. Lovely cottages up there. So a quick straw poll, darlings. How would you like my videos to look like this? No, I don't think so either. Not enough scenery, too much bald head and beard. And that's the main Portsmouth to London line we're just about to pass under. And sure enough, here's the bridge under the railway. And we continue up the aforementioned Hangers Way. And we're into the Buriton Chalk Pit Local Nature Reserve. Lots of old chalk and lime workings. And some machinery, I believe, left around us to find. I'll have to see. There's a very interesting board about the chalk pits and the lime works. Now the lime works operated from 1860 to 1939 when it was acquired by British Portland Cement. Unfortunately they failed to get permission to build a factory to make cement and it all closed. But anyway, the chalk was dug out of the banks here with picks, broken up with hammers and loaded into these trucks. And these trucks used to take 1.5 tons of chalk and were known to get up to speeds of 50 to 60 miles an hour just freewheeling down the hill. It's lovely that they've left them in situ as a sort of memorial to the old works, but you wouldn't think it now, it's so peaceful. Now, after a little diversion to look at the chalk truck, get back on the main path and we continue uphill. I don't know if it's coming across on the camera, but quite a steep old hill this. Just see the village through the trees down below. And of course, I brought Whippet Quick Trev up here. He's run up the hill, was munching on a bagel. And you ignore this first path that you cross over, we're carrying on up the hill until we reach a road or a little lane and we'll turn left there. These woods are absolutely full of holes of various sizes where they've quarried out different bits of chalk. Good idea for you dog owners, sniffy logs. You can hide treats for your dog. Pretty little pond. Obviously I should think a flooded working. Now this is an interesting little sculpture and it's one of many on the Shipwrights Way, which we're passing over at the moment. Now the Shipwrights Way is a 50-mile long distance path and it runs from Alice Holt Forest over towards Bentley down to Portsmouth Historic Dockyard, and it's supposed to trace the route of the timber that was used to make all the Royal Navy warships in the days of yore. Anyway, carry on from this sculpture and you see there's a car park there and a very, very small lane. So you've got Buriton and Petersfield one way, Chiltern and Finchdean the other. Somewhere I can't read that way. But we are going to turn left to walk along the lane which of course is a dead end, so it's not going anywhere. Now if you're hungry, by the wheelie bins you can purchase yourself a flapjack and grab a drink. I don't know whether this is Dean Barn, which was the other destination on the finger pole, but if it is, then the lane should cease being a lane pretty soon, because it's a dead end lane apparently going nowhere but Dean Barn. So we're also on the South Downs Way. So possibly that's Dean Barn down the bottom there. Looks more of a barn than the other place did. Anyway, do not miss this finger post, because at this finger post we're coming off the South Downs Way and we're dipping down back through the woods. Now I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but you look down over Buriton and right across to Petersfield there, and then the hangers over at Steep as well. Lovely view between the trees. Lovely view, Trev, look at that. Now steady coming down here when it's damp, because when the chalk is wet it's extremely slippery. Isn't it, Trev?
What's that down there? Yeah.
It's a railway line, Trev. We're on top of a tunnel that the railway line passes under, if you look at the map. So we're at the bottom of that very, very steep, slippery, chalky pubic path. I call it a pubic path and not a public path because it's hairy going down there. And there he is, that heron's still there. The dog just seen it, so I think he's going to fly any minute. So this is the church you might recognise from earlier. We're at the end of the first loop, which is about 1.5 miles to 2 miles. And if you want to go back to the pub, it's through that gate, through the car park and back up through the village. But our walk will carry on along this footpath, and sheep in the distance there, to start the second loop. That's nice, old spot cottage. Perhaps it's a converted pigsty. Very nice now though. I've got to the Kissing Gate, and oh my goodness, we have a little bit of a mud fest there, although it is solid underneath, so as long as your boots are waterproof you can probably make it. But it's not too bad. Wellingtons, no problem. Waterproof walking boots, no problem. And I think it's coming to an end shortly. We come off the track and we turn left to head back towards the village. Through those gates is Buriton House, and that was built in 1910 for Lothian Bonham Carter. His wife didn't like the smelly farmyard that the manor house was on, so they had a Victorian mansion built. He's also related distantly to Helena Bonham Carter, the actress. Interestingly, the manor house, which was on a farm, was owned by the father of Edward Gibbon, and he wrote The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. And also, Lothian Bonham Carter played cricket for Hampshire. So as this is our Christmas edition, Trev, what are you eating?
A mince pie, of course.
Was it a turkey bagel earlier as well?
No, I wasn't turkey. It was, what was it, cheese and marmite?
Oh, yeah. Just past the gate for Buriton House. It's a set of steps and a finger post, and we're heading up there. Come out from between the fences which mark the land of Buriton House. I've come out to a nice open field for which I am eternally grateful. Open up some nice vistas, he said, tripping over. There we are, and you can see the woodland that we climbed up through earlier. There, why should I get all the limelight? Let Trev get some limelight in his nice new green zip up. And the path now descends onto the road. There's not slippery chalk, there's roots to get you. And heading back in towards the village, and then we're going to take a little loop around the sort of back end of the village. Whoop. Safely got down there without breaking my neck. Now don't go far along the road before we turn off on this little sort of side lane type thing to take a footpath which will take us up and round the back of the village. Now as you see this interesting gabled building at the top of the path, there's a kissing gate to the right, and we follow that to follow the Hangers Way. Just past the bench we're taking the path to the left. Nice little carving on the kissing gate, which we're going to go through and then up the steps. It's lovely now, the sun's come right out. Lovely open farmland views. And there's Butser Hill there, with the old TV mast on the top. Lovely long gardens on these, presumably council houses. Lovely. We've emerged off the path into a lovely 1940s, 1950s council estate. The days when they used to make decent houses for people to live in, like these days. Anyway, we walk down this lane, that brings us back to the main road through the village, turn left and we'll be back at the pub. So if you remember, that's the Nest, the other pub, restaurant, whatever you want to call it, in the village. And we're back on the main road, there's another train going by, and we're going to turn left on the high street. That was a very nice figure of 8 walk. You could do 2 loops of around 2 miles each, or you could do one or either of the loops, depending on how far you want to walk. Looks like a lovely pub. Unfortunately, we can't go and have a look at it because there's an electrical fault which has closed it, which must be a real pig, being Christmas with all the bookings they would have had, but hopefully they'll sort themselves out soon and be back open. Anyway, as I say, it's round about 4 miles all around. A very nice walk, so if you liked it, please like and subscribe. So we can't go in for anything to eat, so we'll have to look for another pub to go and grab some sandwiches in. So, see you on the next one. We were wondering where to go for some food, and I said, what's this Buriton Treefest? And Trev said, somebody flogging Christmas trees. So I've just asked, and it's not, it's much more than that. So we're going to have a look, and more to the point, there are some food outlets in there. So let's go and have a look. This is the old manor house, and this was once the farmyard. And it was too smelly for Mrs. Bonham Carter, so that's why they built Buriton House. But the old manor house is very nice actually. I think I'd prefer it. This beats the pub. We've struck lucky here.
If we know about it earlier, can we sign up on the pubs.
Explain the Buriton Treefest, what it's about, where the money goes.
The Treefest is devised by these wonderful ladies, Elaine over there and Karen over there, who do a lot of work for things like this. And they have got 60 trees, which they ask people in the village to decorate or to sponsor for them to decorate. Businesses have decorated and individuals have decorated, and they all look amazing. And it's free to enter, and people look at it, and all the money goes to Alzheimer's, which is incredible.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely
so
brilliant.
There's lots of lovely food, there's tombolas and
we shall
reindeer food
partake of the
things.
food,
Yeah.
and all of my
And a
viewers,
great
when this
course.
video comes up. How long does it run for, the Treefest?
It was on last weekend and it's on this weekend. It's 11 till 4. So.
Remember for next year, viewers.
Yeah, and you'll see very soon how wonderful it is.
Lovely, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So it's all in a good cause, this. Very reasonably priced food. All the profits go to Alzheimer's this year. And it is a lovely Christmassy thing to do. So do come along, it only goes on until tomorrow, that's the last day. But it's lovely for the kids. You can see lots and lots of lovely trees, all decorated by the villagers, and they have a vote, which is the best one.